Hello there and welcome to the program Anioma Affairs. It is the maiden edition, and I tell you what, Anioma Affairs is put in place to ensure that you understand everything about this on Anioma Nation and of course their activities. Today on the program we will be taking on a very special topic, and it is on who a true senator is. Exemplary qualities of a true senator, Anioma Choice come 2019. I am your very own Joe Wilson. Do stay with us because we have a special guest in the studios that will take on issues bothering on a senator. I'll be right back. All right, our guest today is Comrade Collins Okonkwo, a former member representing Delta North Senatorial District, Nigerian Youth Parliament in the National Assembly Abuja. He is the current head Policy and Strategy, African Youth Union Commission, a youth cluster of the African Union Commission, AU, Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. He is currently the leader, Ned Nwoko Support Group. Sir, it's nice to have you join us on the program.
Oh, my pleasure.
All right, well, looking at the exemplary qualities of a true senator, and we want to narrow it down to the Anioma Choice come 2019. And first, I'd ask you, Anioma Nation, how will you capture that?
Well, when you talk about Anioma Nation, you know that Anioma is a complex nation of its own. Anioma is comprised of three ethnic nationalities, comprised of Ndokwa, Ukwane, comprised of Ika, comprised of Anyocha or Shimele. Now, let me also digress a bit to tell us how we derived the name Anioma. Anioma is an acronym which begins with Anyocha Oshimele, the A, Anyocha Oshimele. Then the I is Eka. Then the N is Ndokwa. Then the MA, which is Oma. That means the land of beauty. So that was where we derived the name Anioma Nation.
And so basically, what languages do they speak there?
Oh, we speak the language called Enwane.
Okay.
The Enwane language is what we speak, and if you look at the names of the ethnic nationalities that make up in Anioma, you see that if I speak my own dialect today, somebody from Ndokwa land understands me. Somebody from Ika knows what I mean. Like when we say Bia, anybody, in fact, the three ethnic nationalities use the word Bia. It means come. When you say come, Bia. Though we have different kind of greetings, but whatever we say, an Ika man understands the language of an Ndokwa man, and an Anyocha Oshimele man understands the language of an Ika man, and that is the uniqueness, in the Anioma people.
Can you tell us a little bit about their culture, maybe profession, what they do basically there, in Anioma land?
Oh, we have rich cultural heritage in Anioma land, but basically in terms of agriculture, the major occupation of the Anioma people is predominantly farming, mechanized farming, and that is what Anioma people are known with today.
Mechanized farming.
Yes, yes. Okay. So, and that's why if you can Google it to find out if you are doubting me. Okay. But that is basically what Anioma people is known for today. We are deeply involved, in farming, and God has also blessed our soil with rich nutrients, and soil. Our lands are fertile, and that is why you see a lot of things, a lot of agricultural activities and products, going on and taking place, in Anioma Nation and Anioma land.
All right, thank you very much. Since we're talking about the exemplary qualities of a true senator, Anioma Choice come 2019. Now, let us look at who a true senator is. In your perspective, who do you think is a true senator?
Oh, that's good. But, you know, before we go into look at who a true senator is, we must also go deeper into understanding who is a senator before going to know who a true senator is. A senator, by the rankings in the legislative system, is the highest ranking officer of the law, legislative officer, you know, in our lawmaking system. And the senator is somebody who is elected by the majority of the votes of his constituents in a senatorial district, then going to the National Assembly in the Red Chamber to represent his people. Then coming back to look at who is a true senator. First, we must understand what we mean by the word true. The word true also goes with a sincerity of purpose, sincerity of hearts, you know. And when you talk about who is a true senator, you are talking about a senator who also finds himself in the business of legislature, perhaps in the National Assembly, the Red Chambers, to first consider the interest of his people and also the will of the people, putting or esteeming the will of the people above self-interests. That is where you begin to understand who a senator or a true senator is.
Beautiful. And now, let's look at your perception of Anioma choice, you know, of a senator come 2019. Don't forget that what we're talking about is the exemplary qualities of a true senator, and we narrowed it down to Anioma choice come 2019. And now, what's your perception of Anioma choice of a senator come 2019?
Well, we are entering an election year. And by 2018, there will be a lot of political activities, you know, going on, apart from Anioma land, here in Delta State and also in Nigeria. But the truth of the matter is that where we are now, before we get into 2019, there are a lot of permutations politically actually going on the ground. But we also know that the permutations are political. But we also know that there is a candidate or there is somebody who actually hold the will of the people, who actually the people see as a true representation of the interests of the Anioma people. Permit me to mention him. I'm also using this opportunity also to mention the name of Hon Ned Nwoko as the interests of the people. Because if you want to also find out what I'm saying, if you go to the streets today, an average Anioma person will tell you, I've heard, I've seen, I've heard about Ned Nwoko. If I've not seen him, at least in my community or in my village, I've seen one or two things he actually has done to influence and improve the living condition of people. Sometimes you see when he's around, when he's in town, you see if you go to his house, he stays, sometimes he comes into town for like 3 days. For the good 3 days he will stay in Delta State. He does not step his foot out of his home, his country home, Nwoko, because he takes his time from the beginning of the morning till night attending to people. His doors are open to everyone, irrespective of the class of persons you represent in the society. He sees you as part of himself.
Are you trying to say that when, if, for instance, Mr. A that does not know Honorable decides to visit Honorable's mount, he can actually go in without someone disturbing him or her?
Sure. In fact, when you come into his house, the first thing he tells you that don't get distracted by the fences around. The fence is just for us to mark the boundaries of the home, but the doors are open to everyone, irrespective of the class of persons you represent in society. In fact, in his own private apartment, you see people trooping in, and he attends to everyone. In fact, most cases, I've seen cases where he's not even in town, and for instance, there is an activity that may need to go on in his country home. He approves immediately. And when he approves, he makes sure that even those people who are coming either for excursion or for cultural activities, they are well taken care of, even in his absence. And that is for you to know a man who actually have the will of the people at heart, and a man who also who is being seen as the choice of the people.
Okay, now I'll take you on that. We said a man who is seen as the choice of the people. I'll take you on that later on. But let's look at grassroots, as it were. And now, what's the impact of grassroots sensitization in senatorial campaign?
Okay, let me also take what I do for him as a clear case study. Now, I head the Net Support Group, you know, for him. And the essence of the Net Support Group is the coordinating arm of all the supporting groups that have declared intention, you know, to support the project of Ned come 2019 senatorial election. Now, what we are doing is to reach out to the grassroots. Not just reaching out to the grassroots, taking our time to engage people on what we call evangelism, political evangelism, telling people about the man Ned. It would interest you to know that in few areas and places, local government that we have visited, to every local government that we visit today, we have seen testifiers, evidence of people who at a point in time coming to tell us that they have not seen Ned. Ned does not know them as a person, but they are beneficiaries of Ned scholarship scheme. Many have testified that if not for Honorable Ned Nwoko, they would have dropped out of school. Many have testified of the scholarship programs that they have gotten from Ned. So what we are doing is to engage the grassroots to also get what we call feedback mechanism from the electorate, from the people, to know actually if they know the man Ned. And the testimonies are abound. Evidences are clear that people actually knows him, and people are willing to support him. People are willing to support the cause. People are willing to also support in the area in which they can to ensure that Honorable Ned Nwoko is elected as the senator representing Delta North Senatorial District come 2019 general election.
So can we say that the support is as a result of grassroots sensitization?
Okay, I will say yes, but I will say again, yes. Why I'm saying yes to it is that before the grassroots movement began, Honorable Ned is a man that is known in Anioma land.
Internationally?
Internationally. No, I'm starting from the Anioma land. Okay. He is a man that is known when it comes to the culture of Anioma. He is a man that believes in the cultural, progress of Anioma land. Okay. And he's also a man that believes in the progress, political development of Anioma land. So by what he does, or let me use the word, for what he has been doing in the area of human development, in the area of humanitarian service and support, people has known him, by that gesture. Then coming to the area of grassroots support, I can also tell you that in the area of grassroots support, people also believe that what they are seeing and what they have heard about is not different from the true man who is also called Prince Ned Nwoko. And the grassroots support have increased, overwhelmingly by the things people see and hear about him. Okay,
now let me take it from when you said by the things people see or hear about him. I know you've talked about scholarship.
Okay.
You've talked about other issues where he's not afraid. He's very friendly. His gate is open wide to people to actually come in to see him anytime, any day, even if they are strangers. Of course, people coming in as strangers. Now, Honorable Ned Nwoko seem to be on the lips of everyone from what you said, okay? The old, the young, women, children, as people's choice for Senate come 2019. Let's form a very strong opinion of his qualities, of his unique qualities. Now, you're talking about, you might have A or B who is also very generous. Now, what's your opinion of his unique qualities?
Okay, let me take, for instance, citing an example of the recent happenings. I don't know if you have taken your time to go through the Uboko-Abuja highway. For instance, if you are going to Abuja, for the past 6 months, you can find out the road has been devastated. Okay. Totally devastated, that you cannot even go to Abuja again. That majority of Deltans and even Nigerians who fly through this route to Abuja find it difficult to go to Abuja anymore. Some are now taking through Benin and then connecting to Ewohimi and then connecting to Awuchi, okay, and then heading to Abuja. But he is also a man. I'm sure he is also not a contractor in the government of Delta State. But he feels that there are a lot of Nigerians who ply this route. A lot of Nigerians who can connect through these routes to Abuja. The first thing he did, considering the implications financially that it will take to repair that road, what he did first was to engage through palliative measures. He was the one who began the project of the road rehabilitation in that Uboko-Abuja highway. And he provided the palliative measure until a time he communicated to his own friend too, the Honorable Minister for State Petroleum, Honorable Kachuku, where they collaborated together to see how they can also fix the road. And if you go through that road now, you can see the constructions that is ongoing there. That is to tell you, first, a man who also have the interest of the people at heart. He is not a senator representing Delta North currently. He's also not the House of Rep member representing Anyocha Oshimile constituency currently. He is also not the local government chairman, neither is the even House of Assembly member representing that constituency, but he sees it as one of the things, as things ordinarily he should be able to do, rather than calling for public. And when he was doing that, he did not make it open to the world that I'm the one doing it. In fact, at the time, some of us who were close to him, we tried to question and say, no, nobody should mention my name. I'm not interested. What is important is that let's fix the road and make the road pliable again for Nigerians to be moving from here to Abuja and getting to that destination. I remember again, about 2 months ago, there were series of scholarship that he also gave to people he never knew of. Okay. And in the process, he instructed that nobody should mention his name in the course of this award. That what is important is that, yes, what is important is that our people must go to school. That we must not, because people does not have money, to take care of themselves or to go to school, and allow the future of an Anioma youth, to waste away like that. So what he does, or what he did, was to provide funds and ensure that everyone who desired that scholarship benefit from it. And he insisted, again, I said he insisted that nobody should mention his name or tag him alongside those persons or him as being the provider of the scholarship. So that's one of the things you can consider as being unique, in these areas of humanitarian service.
How true is it that Honorable Ned Nwoko saved Nigeria from recession?
Yes, it is totally clear, obvious. It is all over everywhere. He actually saved Nigeria from the current economic recession. I'm sure it is no longer a news when we hear of the Paris Club, the Reformed, the global fund lenders, and you remember there are a lot of money invested even in that scheme by the Nigerian government. Personally, he took the government to court and requesting that the money should be retrieved and be invested into the Nigerian economy. And today, for a period of time, the case lasted for almost 10 years. But to God be the glory. The case was won in court. And at the end of the day, court compelled the Nigerian government to retrieve the money and inject it, into the Nigerian system of economy. And today, the money have been injected. And you see the bailouts today rescued the country from the economic, challenges. There are a lot of states today who the money have been pumped into their states. Some can pay salary today. Some can also live up to the heights, of expectation of the development of that state. And Nigeria today, I can assure you or tell you anywhere, anytime, we are no longer in a recession. If not for that engagement, only God knows where we would have been today as a country.
I can imagine. And that quality, if you ask me, is indeed exemplary, because it takes one who is unique in terms of attitude to do that. We want to say thank you to Honorable Ned for doing that for us. Okay. Now, there's a thing I read online about your write-up about your group there, Ned Nwoko Support Group, and I quote, it says, in your words, that Honorable Ned has the clout, the leadership qualities, and intimidating resume to represent the good people of Delta North Senatorial Zone in the Senate. That's your words. Can you remember?
Sure.
Okay. And now, what I want you to tell us now is a bit about his resume, that lofty resume that he has.
Well, I'm sure if you follow him while he was in the National Assembly as the Honorable House of Rep member representing Anyocha Oshimile Federal Constituency, he stayed in the House of Rep for just 4 years, between the 1999 to 2003. One of the things that is so unique about him is that for the period of his stay, while other of his colleagues were busy lavishing constituency allowance, lavishing constituency development funds, he actually donated his 4 years constituency allowance to the people of Anyocha Oshimile. You can find out from him. He donated it and also insisted that it must also be used to take care of the people who are in need. And in that same time, he also facilitated a lot of things. Okay. You can also go through the Google and the social media. It's all over on the internet. He sponsored 22 bills, while he was also in House of Rep. And apart from sponsoring 22 bills, he was also the chairman, the House Committee chairman on Judiciary. He facilitated the establishment of the industrial courts. I'm also not going to talk more about the construction of the Lagos Benin Express Highway. He facilitated, the construction of the road. I'm also not going to mention more, but let me mention a few. The federal medical centers we have here in Asaba, he facilitated also the renovation. Even the police headquarters here, and many more. And also, if you go to Okalopono, the entire Okala, he was the one that provided light for them. Okay. So all of these things, you must know that he is also a man who is dogged. He believes in equal rights and social justice, for the people. He's a fearless man, and he tells you when he says black is black, he does not want to mix it. He tells you the reality. And those are part of the thing that makes up the man who is Ned Nwoko.
All right, the program is Anioma Affairs, People's Perspective, and we're taking on our very first special guest, Comrade Qualis Okonkwo, telling us so much about who a senator is, and of course, very, very serious on Honorable Ned Nwoko. I know if I let him on, he has so much to say about these very special man with great personality that is oozing everywhere. I bet you people are begging, they want to be part of his team. If you don't know it now, and if you're not part of it, I say be part of his team. Well, before I let you go very quickly, okay. I know that you are doing a bit, doing your own bit as the leader of Ned Nwoko support group. What are we expecting? What's the next move?
Okay, let me also take these few minutes to tell you what we have, what we have done and what we hope to do.
Okay, in 2 minutes.
Yeah, we actually have been for the past a month and 3 weeks.
Okay.
We have been on the local government tour. We have visited the entire local government under Delta North, the Anioma Nation. And we've been able to tell people about NED. And we have received a lot of support and commendations from people. And we are rounding up the first phase of this project by next Sunday, where we'll now make the grand finale of our visit in Aniocha North, or Iseluku precisely. Then as we are running off, the next phase of the project kickstarts again by 2nd of January. What we hope to do is we are unveiling a project called Operation Each One Tell Everyone About NED. Okay. We want to ensure that everyone, every home, every community hears about NED. At least let us take it as a responsibility to tell one person about the man NED and what NED hopes to do and intends to do for us come 2019 as is elected as a senator that will represent us 2019 and beyond.
All right, thank you very much for coming on the program. Nice to have you.
My pleasure.
I'm sure when I call you again, you will be part of the program. We are at the PDP convention. What's the expectation of the convention?
Well, my expectation is that the convention will go very well. Senator Dr. Kowa, the governor of Delta State, has never been known to organize anything that fails since the inception of PDP. And the 2019 National Elective Convention will not be different from other years.
Okay, now we're thinking about security. What's your take on security here today? What do you perceive?
Well, the security is just as tight as it has ever been at national conventions. Don't forget, this is a democracy. You can't drive the people away from their convention. That is where it seems as if we have uncontrolled crowd, but it's not uncontrolled.
It seems like for the very first time they're having a very serious election here. They're trying to elect so many leaders. I think it's more or less like the very first one of its kind. What does this portray for PDP in future?
Well, if not only PDP in the future, it portrays good omen for Nigeria. It means our internal democracy is getting matured. People now have faith in our internal party democracy. That's why everybody wants to contest. It's going to be more stronger than what it used to be before. Previous mistakes. Now we want to get it right. Democracy is about voting, about being able to convince people, convince them as to why they should support you. And this is what we are laying to bear here. Everybody come and canvass vote. If at the end of it, so be it. So no imposition of any sort and no impunity of any sort here. Very transparent, free and fair, and so credible.
Why did you say that?
Just see the arrangement on ground. We have several ballot boxes here, and in the full glare of the entire world, you see everybody cast their vote. There's nothing like an undercurrent in this election. Everybody will come and vote and come back to his sitting position. And it's definitely going to be very transparent.
Well, now we know that it's the governor of Delta State, that's the chairman of the planning committee now. What does that portend for Delta State?
Yes, it just shows that we as Deltas, we don't appreciate, sorry to say it's possible, we don't appreciate the kind of person we have as our government. And Senator Kowa is such a well-articulated person, well-organized, humane, and is the only person that can do this kind of convention for us. That's why the entire nation is thought now confidence on him and want him to do this convention for us. And just like I showed you, see what's going to come out at the end of it. You'll be impressed with the governor, you'll be impressed with the planning committee, you'll be impressed with PDP at the end of it. So when you have to, you can go close and have a closer shot.
We, the PDP, achieved a 10-year increase in the life expectancy of our people. As members of the PDP, we all have a lot to be proud of. In the 16 years that we governed this nation, we kept it united, peaceful, and prosperous. We made mistakes. We are human beings, but we put our nation first. We did not favor states that voted for us and punish those that did not. We favored all.
Seeing that PDP is having so many elected positions here today, first of its kind, what does that portray for the PDP of 2019?
Not just the PDP, there's an improved political enlightenment everywhere. And that means that by 2019, because Nigerians are more informed, they are going to take better decision. And that better decision will be to throw the ABC away, throw away suffering, throw away regrets, throw away youth unemployment, throw away gender discrimination, and bring back the PDP. The PDP is for gender equality, gender support, youth empowerment, youth employment, food on the table of Nigeria, increased employment, and that's what the decision is.
Now, it's very nice to see that His Excellency the Governor of Delta State is the Chairman Planning Committee. What does that portend for Delta State and, of course, the person of His Excellency?
The Excellency is a goldfish that has no hiding place. Because of his humility, because of his great wisdom, because of his calmness, he's always given this kind of position. Because at a time like this, you need somebody who is able to bring everybody together, regardless of what he thinks or feels about and that is what we have for now. And you can see how well he's been able to do it. You see how well he's been able to organize a convention without strife, as much as persons want different positions, but he's been able to bring everybody together, and we're glad about it.
Yeah. What's the impression about the PDP convention today?
Honestly, this is a wonderful reunion, and I am very, very happy with what I'm seeing. With the heavy turnout today, a lot of people are still outside struggling to come in, and I believe from today the kind of chairman we are going to produce is the one that will allow us to participate fully, particularly the younger ones, to participate in the system, in the ruling of the party, because you say power belongs to people, power belongs to us. You cannot give us power and take it from another hand. So our expectation of the new chairman is very, very high, because the way the youths are going on now, if the chairman does not perform, I think we should be able to show him the way out.
And now, what does this portend for the senatorial election come 2019?
Well, if you zero it down to senatorial, I would have loved to start from the grassroots. But since you're asking me about senatorial, I think it is high time we get the right people right there. And the moment you are not able, you don't have the capacity of moving a motion or presenting a bill on the floor of the House, I think the people of your constituency should be worried about you. You don't go sit down just because somebody's manipulating, putting your name, or maybe you're a friend to whoever. But you can see that those days are gone. Imagine what happened in Anambra. Anambra is a clear example of what everybody needs to know now. If you force me to vote for somebody and I don't want it, we will go the Anambra way. That's the Abga way. And you know Winnie Obiano know what he did. So it's a locus classical in Nigerian political history.
Thank you very much. to know who you are.
I'm Dr. Esther Ogwe.
All right, so you know what we're here today, the 2017 PDP convention. What's your impression of it today?
Well, as you can see, it's been very successful so far. The crowd and the delegates have behaved very well. The arrangements have been very good, and we pray and expect that at the end of it, we will all be very happy in the party.
So what's your expectation of the chairman today that would emerge victorious?
Well, we're expecting that the chairman that we met will be the choice of the majority of the people. It will be somebody who will be focused, somebody who will be dedicated to rebuilding, reconciling and restructuring the party, so that in 2019 we'll be able to take back the power at national level.
Now, what indices are there that today's election is actually free and fair?
I guess so far, every arrangement has been made towards that end. You can see the ballot boxes that have been positioned, they are all empty. I, for example, was a member of the electoral committee, but because I'm a delegate, I had to step down because I can't be voting when I'm also an umpire in the same election. So if they are taking these steps, we believe that everything will go. So we pray that it will go well.
Thank you very much. The PDP convention today.
Delegates are ready to vote their conscience and vote the right people into office so that PDP can be rejuvenated and then come 2019 take over power at the center.
Okay, now you talked about the election and you're very sure that credible people will be there. What indices do we have that this election is actually hinged on a free and fair game?
Well, I know that the people that have talked with have told me that they will vote their conscience and vote for the right people so that we get it right this time. I am very sure that whatever comes out today as a result of the elections will be a credible one for all PDP members. We'll be happy Nigerians will be as well.
And now His Excellency, the Governor of Delta State, is the chairman of the planning committee. What's your impression of him being the chairman?
My impression of my governor being the chairman is that of grace being at work. The grace of God upon his life as a child of God is working. Grace has located him, and that is why everybody is ready to do the right thing. By the grace of God, we'll all be happy at the end.
The PDP convention 2017, that's what we're here for. What's the impression of the convention today?
Well, it shows that PDP, despite the fact that she was defeated in 2015, they are not tired, they are back. They've told Nigeria, this is to let Nigeria know that they are there and everybody in Nigeria wants them back. This is an evidence that they really want to come back. PDP may be defeated in an election, but it's not defeated in spirit of every Nigerian.
She's a baby.
All right, so much on the program Anioma Affairs today, the people's perspective. I bet you enjoyed every bit of today's outing. Not to worry, our next episode we will bring you more features on Anioma Nation and of course activities that pertains in recent times and more about the Principal Honorable Ned Nwoko. I remain yours in only Due Wilton. I'll be right back. Stay out of trouble. Bye-bye.
Yeah, blessings.
Hello.
Akwamadu bujudu Nwoko ma. Akwamadu bujudu Nwoko ma. Onye nnekwa kwa enwe ba na-eme.